Donald J. Trump is guilty.
In listening to the charges from the judge, who's, as you know, very conflicted and corrupt.
I'm a registered Republican. I make the joke I go both ways.
I'm under a gag order, nasty gag order.
I'm in prison.
A jury in the criminal hush money trial of former President Donald Trump reached a historic verdict in just 2 days, guilty on all 34 counts. This decision marks a significant victory for Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, the first prosecutor in the nation to file criminal charges against a former president.
Donald J. Trump is guilty of 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree to conceal a scheme to corrupt the 2016 election.
Among the 4 criminal trials Trump faces, this is the only one likely to conclude before the November presidential election, where he is the presumptive Republican nominee.
Because I think the people of this country see that this is a rigged deal. It's a weaponized deal for the Democrats to hit their political opponent. For Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of the United States. He's destroying our country. He's letting millions of people.
Here's a breakdown of the key elements and potential future developments. Trump was found guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business records related to payments made to his former lawyer, Michael Cohen.
I let out just a gasp of air. I can't, 6 years.
Prosecutors argued that Trump instructed Cohen to pay $130,000 to adult film star Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election to prevent her from publicizing a story about an alleged sexual encounter with Trump.
He has never thought that women like me mattered. That ends now.
The prosecution contended that Trump reimbursed Cohen for the hush money through payments misclassified as legal services in company records. Trump's defense claimed the funds were for actual legal work. The next step is for Judge Juan Merchan to sentence Trump, with the sentencing scheduled for July 11th, just days before the Republican National Convention on July 15th, where Trump is expected to be officially nominated as the party's presidential candidate for the November 5th election. Merchan indicated that Trump could remain free until sentencing. Typically, a felony conviction would result in some prison time, but the law does not mandate it. Merchan could opt for probation, especially considering Trump's age, 77, and his status as a first-time offender without a prior criminal record. Trump might also face financial penalties. Judge Merchan has emphasized his seriousness regarding white-collar crime and has previously warned Trump about the potential for imprisonment due to repeated gag order violations. He also acknowledged the unique security challenges of incarcerating a former president. Each count carries a prison term ranging from 1 1/3 years to 4 years. Since Trump was convicted on multiple counts, Merchan could impose a concurrent sentence, meaning Trump would serve all his prison time simultaneously, though serving the counts consecutively is considered unlikely by legal experts. If Trump decides to appeal, the first step would be a Manhattan appeals court, potentially progressing to New York's Court of Appeals, the state's highest court in Albany. Trump could also request the U.S. Supreme Court to intervene. Judge Merchan will decide whether Trump should be jailed or allowed to remain free during the appeal process. Typically, non-violent white-collar crime defendants in New York State are not jailed during the appeals process, which might apply to Trump as well.
This type of white-collar prosecution is core to what we do at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office.
The location of any potential jail time for Trump remains uncertain, though the U.S. Secret Service has discussed the logistics of imprisoning a former president with federal, state, and city officials. If sentenced to a year or less, Trump might serve time at New York's Rikers Island, which houses 7 jails. Alan Weisselberg, the 76-year-old former CFO of the Trump Organization who pleaded guilty to perjury, is currently serving a 5-month sentence in a medical unit at Rikers. Despite his conviction, Trump remains eligible to run for office. The U.S. Constitution imposes few requirements for presidential candidates, with no disqualifications based on character or criminal record.
As far as the trial itself, it was very unfair. We weren't allowed to use our election expert under any circumstances. You saw what happened to some of the witnesses that were on our side. They were literally crucified by this man